Pledge allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for attending the March meeting of Tampa Streetcar. I think the next order of business is the election of officers, and we have a report from the chair of the committee.
Yes,
you.
I will take that. We met at 1:30 today and determined that the positions for the officers would be President, Director English, Vice President, Director Doringer-Hearn, and Secretary Treasurer Director Hamilton. For the marketing committee, we would like to make the members, we would like to keep the current roster of Director English, Director Doringer-Hearn, Director Hamilton, Director Donahue, and Director Mechanic. For the finance committee, we would like to keep and appoint Director English, Director Mechanic, and Director McDonough. For our MPO Technical Advisory Committee, we currently have Director English sitting on that committee. Is there anyone that would like to be the alternate? Director English doesn't mind attending, but if anyone would like to be the alternate, it's always good to have in place.
Oh, good.
Perfect.
You might find it interesting.
Director Hardin, thank you very much. So as our next steps, we also discussed whether it was important to have the nominating committee meeting ahead of the scheduled regular board meeting, and the committee determined that we probably didn't need to take that extra meeting. Is there anyone that would feel different or want to discuss that at more length?
One less meeting is good.
Yes. All right, wonderful, thank you.
Well,
that's our update.
If I could, Chair, at this time, I move that slate of folks for all those boards.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda is approval of minutes from a previous meeting.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? If hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Public input on agenda items. Anyone in the public would like to speak? Seeing none, let's move to Streetcar System Report. Mr. Allen. Hello.
Good afternoon. For the month of February, we had a 99.51, delivered 99.51% of our contracted service. We had 9.75 missed trips. Those were caused by traffic accidents that affected service that had nothing to do with the streetcar. We had a bad accident where the car ended up on the streetcar right away, so we had to curtail some trips for that. Our on-time performance for February was 100%, and there were no reported accidents or incidences in February. So far, we've gone 195 days without any.
Good.
So that's very good. And we provided 33.4 hours of extra service to the Lightning and the concerts at Amalie. And other than that, all of our inspections were performed on time. January 30th, we had a joint inspection at the interlocking between us, Amtrak, and CSX, and there were no exceptions taken for anything that was performed that day. So the FRA was very happy with our performance.
Good.
And other than that, we had 37 wheelchair boardings for the month. Those continue to be high throughout the month. So does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Allen. The next item would be legal and legislative reports. Clay.
Hi everyone, I'm Clay Matthews. I'm filling in for David Smoker. Our law firm received a demand letter from a plaintiff's law firm called Diaco Law regarding an incident involving a lady named Judy Harvard, which occurred on or about July 10th, 2015, and the facts are essentially that she tripped over one of the rails, and the demand letter demands a sum of money to settle this pre-suit of this claim. We have sent the demand letter and all the medical documentation that were attached with the letter to our general liability and carrier, who we have a call with tomorrow to further discuss the claim and assess the claim. And once we have that call, we will provide some more feedback to the board.
Great. Any questions?
Quick question. The trip happened, the trip that she is alleging happened on one of the streetcars or one of the stops?
From my understanding of the facts in the letter, she tripped over a rail, which they're alleging was in disrepair at the time.
Okay, so she was walking somewhere near the rail line, not necessarily in the car itself.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I do not have a report that I'm aware of, so let's move to the CEO's report.
Okay. The last actual meeting.
You might identify yourself.
Oh, Kenyatta Lee. I thought everybody knew who I was. Kenyatta Lee.
Mr. Stewart is snowed in, I think, isn't he?
Yes. Well, no, he's actually back, but he had an emergency for today, so he's back. He made it back safely. So as it relates to last board meeting, I know that you asked, or the board requested some comments and feedback on the advertising policy, and staff has actually done some research related to that, related to the fact that you want to know if there was any missed opportunities for advertising based on the current policy. Right. And Lori Gage, who's with Vector, is here to kind of give you some feedback on the actual components of what we discovered as far as potential lost revenue, and also the actual current things that she's working on to ensure that we get revenue for possibly changing the policy if you so desire to do that.
Thank you. Ms. Gage?
Sure. Hi, I'm Lori Gage with Vector Media now. So some of the questions that were posed to us is if we had turned down any potential revenue. We have not. And I believe that this ties into the alcohol policy, and if it is promoting just local revenue. The big ones that we've had over the years are Anheuser-Busch. We had them for 5 years, I believe it was. And now we currently deal with Miller Coors with annual full wraps, and it's the best revenue, we've had to help support the streetcar system through the advertising program. And arguably, are they local, bottled locally, Pepin's here, that type of thing. But our recommendation is we'll take any revenue, that wants to come our way. The challenges with the streetcar advertising is there's only a few cars and they don't all run every day, and it's a limited, footprint, if you will. So, we're looking at pretty much entertainment, some downtown, those types of advertisers. But, in the alcohol sect, it's nice to be able to offer, and of course everything would come to HART and the Streetcar Board or the Streetcar Department for approval before anything is posted. So, we're currently running Tito's Vodka. So my recommendation would be, let's not turn away any revenue.
Discussion?
A quick question. Ms. Gage, I saw that the Italian Club is putting interior cards and some of the things. Any attempt to upsell those guys and say, hey, why don't you just wrap something for about a month? Because I don't know what that cost would be if they decided to wrap a car for a month, let's say.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I meant to talk about that too with the local business. Wrapping a streetcar is $6,000. That's just the one-time, produce, install, remove, maintain. So that's a pretty big chunk of change for, like EBOR, single types of location businesses. But yeah, absolutely. They come around every year for, the Italian Fest, do the interiors, and then they also use one of the cars to move people.
Mm-hmm. You might want to get the folks at Radiant Oil to pay for the wrapping of it. They're going to be Radiant Oil for 8 months of the year, and the rest can be the Italian Club Festival. So,
there you go. Okay.
Just a suggestion.
Thank you.
Because you could probably throw a rock from here to where Radiant Oil is at, so you could probably get them. They're a business base in Ybor City.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good.
All right. Thanks.
So our policy now limits it to local businesses, but Coors Beer isn't a local business. So what's the issue? Was a vodka wrap from a regional company?
Yeah, it's Tito's. So
what does our policy say now?
The documentation that I've got in a binder here says that, the contractor should not pursue advertisements which may be characterized as promoting alcohol, legal drugs, firearms, or tobacco products. And I understand that we made an exception, or HART made an exception on a local vendor basis, is my understanding. I would see no issue with maybe drafting a revision or an updated exception to include a broader exception for national brands such as Tito's and the like.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if that exception is that limited, then we could of course draft a broader exception.
What do you think?
I think we ought to take it to our funding partners before we take a motion.
To our funding partners.
The 3 CRAs in the city of Tampa.
Sure. A motion, please?
What is it, a motion to bring it to the CRA?
Yeah.
The three CACs and
Yeah.
the city.
Yeah.
Just make sure that they don't have an issue.
Okay. When we have that motion, I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. And we'll, next month we'll figure out what to do.
I think it also needs to, the exception would need to be signed off on by the HART Board.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and there's an opportunity for us to have that presented at the April 16th committee meeting, and then also for the May 7th board. So if we meet those timelines, then we can get it done relatively quickly.
Well, yeah, if we can get to the CRA advisory boards.
Okay.
Are we in a time constraint on this? Is it something that
No.
we should have approved pending permission?
Well, I think with our CRA boards, they come up the second week of the month, if I'm not mistaken.
We just had those meetings.
Right. So I think it's the second week, and we changed our schedule a little bit, but the CAC should be able to meet prior to that and then present or have any questions about us afterwards, either through our CRA or anything else, and then bring it to our board on the 16th, and then move forward to, as Kenyatta said, to.
So HART staff would do this? Would
And we'll
appear
work
at
with general counsel on recommendations for changes.
Yeah.
Well, and arrange to appear at these meetings.
No, I'll have the CRA managers do it. There's no reason to drag somebody down. I'll just have them put it on their agendas.
Okay, but somebody's got to be there to explain it, I think.
Excuse me?
Someone would need to be there to explain it.
I think that the CAC managers would be capable of explaining it.
Okay, fine.
I'll
Good.
be at the downtown one, so I can explain it at that one, and then the other two follow after that. So I think Rob will be fully capable of.
Okay, great.
The same
Perfect.
message gets
Good.
gone across.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
We'll see you next month. Okay.
Next is the German cruise ship Artania will be in on Saturday, April 7th. And the plan right now is to have somebody from community relations to be there to greet the passengers to ensure that they can get on the streetcar effectively. And we're also asking and recommending that the streetcar have extended hours during that period of time. So we'd be starting from 8 a.m. to 11. So we need an extra 3 hours.
And it's a Saturday, so
for
it's
that.
free.
Yeah, so it's already free, but we just need approval to extend the time, and also the cost of it would be around $600 to do that. So it's a nominal cost and a good opportunity to move those passengers relatively quickly.
Sure.
And it's April 7th is when they're coming?
April 7th, yes.
So they're doing it for just that one trip, or is there another?
It's for the one trip. It's
got
our
it.
understanding is that one trip.
Okay, great. Well, if we need an approval, I'll make a motion to that effect.
We have a motion and a second.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
And just one thing as a reminder, we are working with Thea for the Connected Vehicles project. So we did have some testing on March 6th to kind of test the live data, so that went relatively well. And we'll continue to put those on the streetcars, the actual units, to track the success of that project. So we'll be having a little bit of a briefing probably at the next meeting, so you kind of understand where the project is going and where we've come so far.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Lori, did you have anything else you needed to report?
No, thank you.
Okay, we have a presentation on Old Water Street from Kimley Horn.
I'm sorry to report that they couldn't make it unexpectedly at the last minute, so we request that this be moved to the next meeting.
Sure. Okay, that's it. Compliance reports, any questions about marketing, ridership, financial statements, it's all in your package. And there was going to be an information report on the TECO Line web redesign a mobile website. Is there anyone here who will make that presentation?
I can do that as well. For the knowledge base, we're just basically going to be updating the website. It's not necessarily mobile ready. We would like to add some additional components to it. We do have money budgeted for the FY18 budget to do this. We'll be working with a vendor that is currently working with HART. It's called Catapult, and they actually are doing a lot of things with us for our SharePoint site. So they'll be developing it, and we'll be bringing that back to you for review and approval as well once we make the enhancements.
That's great.
So it'll be a good opportunity to kind of tie everything in with what we're doing on our HART website to make yours more consistent with ours.
That's great. Thank you. Any questions? Any old business? Any new business? I can't hear you.
We do have a general comment.
I'm sorry.
General
You
comment.
have a general comment.
Public input on general.
I thought I asked for public comment, but if I did,
on agenda items.
then let's general comments. Sure.
Steve Rosenstock, 551 West Davis Boulevard, Tampa 33606. I'm here today to thank you all. I'm no longer with HART, and I want to thank you for letting me serve the streetcar for over 7 years. And I want special thanks to Catherine Egan, who had the foresight and vision and had faith in hiring me. I also want to thank Michael for your passion on the streetcar. It's been tremendous. Abby, you've been incredible. I've met along the way Dick Smoker, Mike Suarez, Bob, Sherry Donahue, Rick Hamilton, Mike Mechanic, Adam. I don't really know you, but I just wanted to make that clear. I know I'm going to leave out some people, Dr. Sean Robinson, Joan Genuine, Wallace Bowers, and other THS board members that are helping keeping the TCO streetcar alive. I am planning on retaining my seat on YCDC, which, as you know, it is a citizen's appointee, and I plan on doing that. I also plan on staying on the Mayor's Neighborhood University, of which again is a citizen's center. Regards to you, your families and extended family members, and to my HART staff that I worked with for 7 years. And I mean it from my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. We've enjoyed your service very much. We'll miss you.
Thank you.
Any additional comments from the public? Any additional business? If not, this meeting is adjourned.